Hey everybody, I'm Travis and this is my channel, Jack of All Trades. So tonight we are going to work on doing a tool pouch for the 92 Harley. I'm going to use this pouch as a template. I'm going to cut it apart and this is going to be our pattern. So we're going to take it apart. We're going to keep all the straps because we're going to use those to make the new ones. And I'm going to show you what we're going to use to make this pouch once I get the straps out. Listen, they're tight. So what we're going to use, the leather we're going to use is this buffalo, the same stuff I used on the seat. Now this buffalo is a little bit too flimsy. It's not quite firm enough to just make it out of this and that's it. So we got a couple options. We can either use a tooling leather and put it on the back side of that to firm it up a little bit, or we can use a little stiffer leather in another color or whatever. I've got this stuff here, it's this pull-up that I made my wallet out of, which I don't happen to have on me, but it's still kind of pliable, but it's stiffer. So put these together back to back like so. So when you look at the outside it's this, when you look at the inside it's the pull-up, and that'll help stiffen it up, but it'll still be pliable. So it's not going to be just like real rigid. So that's what we're going to use. So the first order of business right now is put on my clerical goggles because I can't see jack in front of me unless I have my clerical goggles on. Just going to throw that out there. And what I'm going to do is this piece right here that you can see, that's its own separate piece. I'm going to cut another piece for that out of tooling leather, and we're going to actually tool it. So it'll be like the seat, it'll be the buffalo with tooling. We're not going to sew it like this. We're actually going to lace this together. I'll have some stitching in it, like around here I'll do stitching. This stuff, like this piece here, I'll do stitching, but we'll lace all this together with a black lace, leather lace, this one or this one. I haven't made up my mind which one yet. We'll figure that out as we go though. It'll be one of the two. And so it'll have the buffalo, it'll have tooling, and then it'll have black, and then some of the stitching will be the same color, that burgundy red color that I used on the seat, so it'll all match the bike itself. So we're going to start out with taking this thing apart, which means we got to get in here and get a stitch somewhere and get it cut loose. And then go from there. I really need to buy a seam ripper and make it so much easier. This here is going to be a few videos long, about 3-4 videos I think. Because tonight what we're going to do is we're going to cut this apart and we're going to make the pattern for it. And I'll show you how we're going to do. We're going to use this as a pattern, but we got to do something to it. We can't just, I mean, we technically could use just these pieces, but it's hard to be precise when you're using pieces of leather off of something that's already been molded and in a position for a while. So we'll get it apart eventually, and hopefully without cutting myself, and then we'll go on to actually doing the whole pattern thing. Okay, so there's one side, and we'll take all these threads out here in a little bit. So when I go to make the pattern part of this, when we do that, we won't have any of the threads in on it. But we've got to take all this apart, which means we've got to take this piece off, this piece off. So it looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pieces. All of it will be cut out of the buffalo, and we'll make a duplicate to go to the back side of that with this, except for this piece, which will be tool and leather. And I think I might do tool and leather on this one also. We'll just have to see. We'll see about that one when we get to it. Another part of this is, it makes it a pain, is because it's already been formed. So it was on my other Harley that I had, my 2012 Fat Boy Low, which I loved. I don't know why I sold that thing. I'm losing my mind is what it is. But we'll but that's alright, because I got this 92 now, and I hate to say it, but it's even cooler than my Fat Boy Low I had, because my Fat Boy Low was, you know, factory paint, was factory, you know, everything was all, I had a lot of customization on it, but it was just bolt-on type stuff. It wasn't a bike I built, it wasn't a bike that I painted and stuff like that. So we'll get this cut apart here and keep on moving. I did a pretty good job of sewing that bad boy on the corners, I'll tell you that. There we go. There we go. I'm going to have my daughter step in here for a minute and hold this piece for me so I can... There you go. She's also my cameraman, so... Here's my middle daughter, Abby. She's 18. None of you young boys get any ideas. I'm just saying. I got 3 daughters. I'm very protective of my girls. We may have to do a little bit of work on this big piece before we actually make the template for it. Because the way that it is so formed to that position, there we go. See how if I let go, how it forms right back. We may have to get it wet and put some weight on it to flatten it all back out. We'll take a look at it here in a minute. We may have to get it all wet and flatten it back out before we can actually make the template for it, but we'll take a look at it. So the good thing about this is using this as a template, is that it's already giving me my holes for sewing when I actually go to sew. So I can actually use the same hole pattern basically and just punch them individually. You know, when I put that on my, when I do that on my leather, I can punch them individually. With this one, since this is going to be hand tooled, I can use these holes when I make the pattern and punch them individually onto my hand tooled leather, which I'll end up gluing down to this anyhow, and then punch those holes again through the rest of the leather where I can sew it, because that'll be sewed on. So that's a plus to using something that you're taking apart to use as a pattern, because I thought about this, and I thought about doing my own design for this, but why reinvent the wheel? I'm definitely into handmade, homemade, make it yourself. I'm definitely into cool, but when I bought this, I was looking for the largest size I could get anyhow, and this is about as big as I could get. So why reinvent the wheel and make my own design for this? Can I? Yeah. Will I? Maybe. But right now, I'm going to use this for this one because I actually liked this pouch. I just didn't, I think it can be better, and it would look cooler and better if we make it out of top grain buffalo versus some cheap Indian cowhide, you know. So that's why I'm taking it apart, because I want to make it, you know. I want it to be cool, and that it shall be cool. And like I said, ain't no need to reinvent the wheel. You know, use what you have at home. If you have something, even if if this had a tear in it somewhere, I could still take it apart and use it as a pattern. You know, so if you have something like that you're making or using, if it's got a tear in it or something, you can still use it as a pattern. Just need to, you know, and I'll show you that here in a minute. Once I get this piece taken off, how we'll make the actual pattern for each of these pieces. It's not hard. It's simple. It's stuff you either got laying around the house, or it's something you can go to the Walmart or the Dollar General or the dollar store or whatever it is where you live at, whichever part of the country you live at. And then, and you probably got some of the stuff laying around because of your kids' projects at school, that, you know, because I'm here to tell you, a lot of the reason I got some of the stuff that I use for templates and stuff like that is because my girls, every time I turn around, got a dang project that needs something, and I gotta go buy more stuff. Now the good thing is I've got a bunch of buckles already, and they're black. I bought them that way from a business I used to have a few years ago, and I still got lots of parts and pieces. So I've got a lot of black buckles that we're going to be using, and then my rivets, I got a bunch of rivets, but they're copper. So this is, you know, we've got the bronze, copper grips and stuff like that on my bike. So that'll go, the black will go with it, the hand tooling, everything will go together just like the bike and have the same color combinations on it as the bike does. And we'll make these straps out of the buffalo, and I'll show you how to do those when we get to them. Right this second, I'm going to have my camera person go into the next room and grab me a piece of the poster board. And while she's doing that, I'm going to see if I can get any of these threads out. The regular stuff. See if we can get rid of some of these things, because they all gotta come out anyhow. No. Like at the end of the table. Yes, some of that stuff. My God. I'll get all these out eventually. Anyhow, so if you get poster board like such, get you some, I don't have any out here right now, Super 77 spray adhesive. Spray your poster board, spray the back of your piece, put it down, and just lay it on down nice and flat and even, and make sure you get all the kinks and curves and curls out, and lay it down there, and it will stick. Trust me, it will stick. And then at that point, once you get it done like that, you just take a X-Acto knife, a scalpel, whatever, a rotary cutter, and you just cut it out right along the edge of your piece you've glued down. This stuff is still flexible, but what it does, it gives it a little bit of rigidity, and it keeps that, once you lay it all flat and get it all flat, because if you look at this one, how it's bowed up here, bowed up on the end, bowed up in the middle, it's kind of cupped. And if I push it down and then pull it flat with that on the back, it'll stick right down. And then that's what you're going to use as your template right there, after you glue it to your poster board. So right now, that's kind of where we're at. We've got it pulled apart. We know what materials we're going to use. We're going to use this black pull-up as the interior leather, the top grain buffalo for the exterior. The black pull-up is just going to be for the give it a little rigidity, and then we're going to glue them together back to back. This is the back, this is the back. When we do it back to back, so the interior has this black color and the exterior will be this color. You don't have the rough out part of the leather showing either side. And when we get to putting that together, I'll show you how to do that. Real easy. It is not that hard. Then, you know, we'll cut out the piece of tooling leather for the pieces that need to be the tooling leather, which would be these two pieces, which would be a couple of the last pieces we cut out. But what we'll do is we'll get all this laid out, we'll get it all glued out, get templates made, and cut them out, which will be on the next video. So keep an eye out for that, because what we'll do is we'll pull all these threads out, we'll glue them down, and what I'll probably do is get them all glued down on a piece of poster board, except for maybe one or two, and then the next video I'll glue those down to show you exactly how to do it, and then we'll cut them all out on the next one, and then we will start cutting leather. Once we get the leather cut, because what we're going to do is cut all our pieces out of the top grain that we need first, and then I'll show you how we'll cut our pieces out of the pull-up after that. So this is going to be a 3, 4, maybe 5 videos. I'm going to try and make it in about 3 or 4, but it might be 5 videos. And I'll keep posting the motorcycle stuff, the motorcycle build as we're doing this, because I'm building this for the motorcycle. I don't need it for the motorcycle, but I want it for the motorcycle because I do carry tools no matter what. Like my 2012, I carried tools on it. I carried, you know, a small ratchet set, a metric and a standard Allen key set, vice grips, a flathead and a Phillips screwdriver. I carried all, and some rags in my pouch that I just tore apart. That's why I carried in there. So it's just how I am. I'd rather have and not need than to need and not have. So I'm building a tool pouch for this Harley. So I have the tools just in case. Shouldn't need them, but it is a 1992. It's not like it's something I just rolled off the assembly line and bought a brand new bike. So, you know, you never know. It just is what it is. If you're gonna have a Harley, and if you plan on having a chopper and an old one and riding the old stuff, you're gonna need some tools. It just is what it is. So we're gonna end this one here. Me and my camera person are gonna get this all cleaned up as far as the all the threads out and all, and we will see you on the next one. Y'all be nice to each other.